Hey guys, and welcome back to another video about Age of Empires 2 team games. First though, I'd like to thank everyone for all the likes, subs and comments. It's great to see how much interest there is in team games. Today I'll give you 5 tips on pocket decision making in Feudal Age. Let's dive into it. Number 1. Find the scout of the opposing pocket and keep yours close. There are a few reasons for this. Number 1. It's less likely that your opponents can surprise you by teaming up their scouts and getting an early will kill or delaying production buildings. Number 2. Scout HP is very important for pockets, because even the slightest HP advantage leads to being able to chase down the opponent and getting some more hits here and there. So if you see the opposing pocket's scout, you can tell your flank to trade HP with it, giving you a small lead. And number 3. Most players tend to send their newly trained scouts to the starting one to be able to harass vills quickly. By finding and chasing their starting scout with yours, you can circumvent early damage. Number 2. Keep track of enemy armies. In my opinion, this is one of the most important aspects of pocket feudal play. Knowing the opponent's army positions is essential for your own decision making and army movement. It also enables you to play open for a while before finishing your walls, which lets you spend more resources on army and upgrades. You can anticipate your opponents and take important map positions such as hills and choke points so that they don't suddenly appear in your or your teammates' woodline. Knowing the current army position may also let you pick off reinforcements if you can't take a good defensive fight yet. And even the next tip is only possible if you keep track of enemy armies. Number 3. Check enemy upgrades and communicate your own. Upgrades like fletching, scale barding armor and bloodlines can decide the outcome of feudal age fights, so it's extremely important to constantly check them and make sure that your own upgrades are in time. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my build order guide on pocket scouts to get consistently good upgrade timings. Number 4. When to add extra stables. In my last video, I talked about making the quote-unquote correct amount of scouts. Well, as you may have guessed already, it's not actually that simple. Let me try to explain using a visual example. Here we have a typical situation on an open land map at around minute 17. All 4 players have the same upgrades. Now let's consider 2 different scenarios going forward. One pocket, player 4, will always add a second stable while the other stays on 1. In scenario 1, the players do not fight, and in scenario 2, there is a fight in which all players lose half of their army. After 3 production cycles, we will analyze the numbers. In scenario 1, we end up with these numbers. Player 4 has 20% more army than player 3. And those are the numbers for scenario 2, in which player 4 even has 33% more scouts, although it's still the same 3 scouts more. This simple example shows that the effect of additional production facilities depends on the initial army size. The rule of thumb is, when both opposing players are camping on a defensive hill and are fully walled, you should not commit to more scouts and go up to Castle Age instead. If, however, either one of these conditions is not true, you can justify additional stables and scout production, since you'll be able to take a good fight or raid open bases. Always keep in mind that there is another side that could benefit from swinging over with your units, so make sure you communicate your decisions with your team. If you watch a recording from 2 to 3 years ago, you wouldn't normally see players adding stables. Why is it more common these days? For one, the map script of Arabia is a lot more open than it used to be. And due to faster builds, it's much more difficult to be fully walled before enemy units arrive. And with flanks generally being open, we just learned that you can justify making more scouts. Number 5. Play to your civ's strength. This is also something I mentioned in my last video. Build orders can change depending on your civilization. But that's not all, because it may be beneficial to play in a certain way for some civs. I will give you 3 popular examples. These civs like to make a ton of scouts due to their bonuses. A good way to force heavy feudal play is to go up to feudal age as quickly as possible and start harassing the opposing flank to ensure that they can't wall up. Also try to take fights early, so that adding stables becomes more effective. These civs don't like to face large crossbow armies in Castle Age. For this not to happen, you should commit heavily to Feudal Age, so that you can thin out the enemy archer numbers before they become an issue later on. Falling behind the opposing pocket is usually not that problematic, since you will start training strong camels once you reach Castle Age yourself. This is by far the most popular pocket civ. However, it can struggle in Feudal Age due to not having access to bloodlines. The way I like to play them is to make it messy. Send small armies around their bases and try to take good fights in low numbers using the extra HP of Frank scouts. If you keep them busy for a while, chasing your units, you can click to Castle Age. You want to avoid stalemate situations because the bloodline's power spike for other civs is tough to handle for Franks. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more Age of Empires 2 team game content. Thanks for watching.